Thank you. Well, before I make some final comments that I would like to pass on to everybody here, and before we get to the last 5 minutes, which everybody's been waiting so patiently for, one of the first things that I noticed in every single person that came up was that they were all extremely serious about using the products. Write that down first. They were not only serious about using it when they got started, they were serious about continuing to use it every single day. And not just every single day, 3 times every single day. And as you listen to many of them, they tried to make special notice that someone was watching them use those products. If there's ever a good example of that, there's not any place I ever go without people seeing me eating and drinking the product all day long. In fact, I was at a restaurant last night, and we took the Herbalife staff out to dinner last night, and it was really interesting. The waitress came over, and she's looking at me, and she said, "Nah, can't be." And I looked at her and I went, "Yeah, it's me." And she said, "You're Mark Hughes?" And I said, "Yeah, you probably recognize me from the picture and everything, right?" She said, "Yeah, but you know, I'm a supervisor in Herbalife and I can't believe you eat." I mean, I actually eat, you know. You might not believe this, but I do a lot of things that you guys do. So, you know, remember when I started the company, I was just a 22-year-old kid off the street, you know, and with a 9th grade education. And, you know, and if I can do it, and the people that you saw up here can do it, and you can take the products 3 times a day, and you can continue to keep taking them, that's one thing that you'll notice that every single one of us have got, is that we have a deep conviction about what's happened to us by using the products every single day. So that's the number one thing you noticed from the people that came up here. Here's the second thing I want you to write down. All of them actually retail the products. They sell the products to someone else. And through the sale of that product to someone else, each and every one of them, you can see it in their face when they're talking that they have been affected by either what's happened to them or by what's happened to someone else who's gotten on the product. And it got them so extremely emotional about the company that it gave them the guts to stick the business out every single day. When things were tough, when things were hard, when times were rough for them, they dug back down into their souls and their hearts, and they thought about how marvelous it was what happened to that person, and maybe it would be worth it to talk to 10 more people and get turned down, and maybe talk to 10 more people and get turned down, just to have the chance, just to have the hope of maybe having one more person that could have such dramatic results. People have asked me, you know, that I know from all different walks of life that are very rich, that aren't necessarily involved in Herbalife, why is it, Mark Hughes, you got plenty of money, you don't have to work any longer, why is it that you continue to travel, you know, half of the year on the road and knock yourself out? Why do you continue to keep trying to open up these different countries? Why don't you just relax a little bit and take it easy? Because for me, there is no easy, there is no rest, there is no part of me that's not thinking about if we would just keep trying, we'd be able to be in another meeting someday, in another country someday, where someone else comes up and says that they've not only lost their weight and that they feel the way that they want to, and deep down in their heart, they truly are grateful for the Herbalife products. So one thing all of us had in common was that we used the products. Second thing we all had in common was that we had a real emotional tie to Herbalife. We all have a deep conviction about the products and what's happening to people. The third thing that if you watched, all of them had in common was that they all somehow wear something that gets exposure to the marketplace. They either wear a button that gets people to ask them about the company. They carry business cards, some of them, to hand out to people. They carry their tablet boxes around and open it in front of someone and take the tablets so someone will ask them about the products. They're wearing maybe their president's team pin when they don't feel like wearing their buttons, so somebody will ask them. But each and every one of them had something in common that they wore on their lapels or had something they could hand out to get people to ask them about the products or the opportunity. Here's the next one. All of us recruit distributors. We try our best, whether it's with our customers, or whether it's with our friends, or whether it's with our buttons, or whether it's with flyers, or whether it's with advertising, or whatever it is that we do, each and every one of us have continued to try to involve people in the company. Sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's hard. You heard all the tragedies that so many of us went through. We heard about Jerry talking about what it was like in the beginning. Let me tell you something. It was rough back in the beginning to get people to listen to us, to see that something was going to happen with this marvelous thing called Herbalife. But you know, if you keep trying, and you keep trying, and you keep trying, and you keep handing out that card, and you keep handing out that flyer, you'll finally get someone. I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I finally got one person signed up. And I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I finally got 2 people signed up. And what it did for me is eventually as it started building my story. My story was the leading story in the company. I recruited 196 people first line in 6 months, which got me 16 supervisors, which got me that very first month to be able to have the opportunity of making $1,200. Yes, Mark Hughes, his very first month, I was excited about what happened to me personally, $1,200. And my next month, it went up to about $2,000. And the next month I was excited because it went up to over $3,000. And by the 8th month, my income was getting up around $8,000 a month, and I was so excited about what was happening to me. And I kept concentrating on my recruiting. And what happened was, as I started showing the checks, the distributors started doing the exact same thing. And if there's anything that you've seen in commonality of all the people that you saw this weekend, is that they recruit people and they do it constantly over and over and over again. So that's number 4, getting people involved in the company. Here's the next thing that all of them said that they did, was that they trained their distributors. They trained their distributors. Now, a lot of people get confused when we talk about training distributors. They think they've got to be some incredible trainer in order to train their organization. Here's what everybody that's new does. Write this in your notes. You train people on what you're told to do. You train people on what you're told to do. Because when you first start, you can train someone the first day, even though you've had your first milkshake, even though you've taken your tablets the first day, even though you've just recruited your first distributor. You just tell them what you were told, and you tell them to do it. Now, once you've got success on the products, and once you've got a story on the business, then what you do is you train them on what you do. And that's it. That's all there is to training. Here's the last thing that they seem to all have in common up on this stage here. This is the last one. Is that they learned how to promote. They learned how to promote. They promote the products. They promote for referrals. They promote with their business cards. They promote with their buttons. They promote the distributor kit. They promote the $1,000 package. They promote the supervisor. They promote the supervisor schools that were going on. They're promoting the extravaganza in 1994. They're promoting the last 5 minutes of the show. They're all promoting, okay? So they all used the products. They all sold the products. They all were wearing some type of button to get questions. They all involve people in the company. They all train their distributors. And they all promote the company. The only other thing we got to do is be consistent. And we got to be consistent with our consistency. And here's when we got, here's the one thing I want to tell you about consistency. Have consistency first, and then you make big money. A lot of people say, well, listen, I'd be real consistent if I was making all this money you guys are making. But that's not how it works. You be consistent first, and then you get the money. Here's the next one. Having tremendous faith that this will work out for you and your family. You know, you saw people that came that were bartenders up here that are making $1 million a year. You saw people that were checkers at Market Basket that are making $1 million a year. The fact is, you don't even have the right to not have the faith, because if they can do it, you can certainly do it. But the first thing you've got to do is have the faith first, even when times are bleak, even when people are saying no, even when the things aren't working out, and then you get the money. And here's the next one. They all had good attitudes. People say, well, you know, I'd have a real great attitude if I was making $1 million a year. But see, that's not the way it works. You get a great attitude first, and you get it the first day, the first year, the second year, the third year, and you get a great attitude as long as it takes until you get to where you want to go. Have a great attitude first, get the check second. And if you guys will continue to do this, day after day after day after day, not only will you achieve financial success, but I will tell you one thing. You're going to meet the greatest people you've ever met in your entire life in this company. Some of my best friends that I have in life, my closest pals, are in the Herbalife business, and you'll be able to wake up every single morning and beat yourself on your chest and stick yourself up and look yourself square in the mirror and say, by golly, I'm proud about being an Herbalife distributor.